Hello and welcome to this week's Elite Audio video. And as you will know from last week's video, this week we will be revealing the outcome of our showroom event at the weekend and our ultimate streamer shootout. To find out who won, please stay tuned. All is about to be revealed. Welcome to our video this week, and as I said in the introduction, this week it's all about our showroom event that we had on Saturday. Firstly, I want to thank everybody that came along. The turnout was the best we've had for any event up till now. And I know some of you travelled a great distance to get here, and that is really appreciated. I think what was amazing was, in this, whether it is just coincidental luck or whatever you want to call it, the weather was amazing. Every year when we have this event, we just seem to get great weather. It could be raining the 3 days before and the 3 days after, but for whatever reason, the day we pick for our event is always really good weather. It meant that people could mingle outside, eat their pizza, like I said, but I think the other thing that amazed me was that people that came stayed the entire day. Normally, you know, we get groups coming in, going, and so on and so forth, and the kind of numbers vary throughout the day. But even when I looked around our showroom at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, given that most people turned up at 10:30 in the morning, most were still here. Yeah, it's amazing what you can get people to do for £5 these days. Anyway, that was great, and as I say, thank you. The feedback we had was fantastic, and you know, I really appreciated the comments regarding the format and how it all turned out. Before I get started in full, I need to show you this now. There's probably 3 people watching this video right now know exactly what's in this box, but I was standing outside and 3 of our existing customers who I'll simply refer to as Davey, Ian and Fergus, but you know who you are. Fergus handed me this box, so I was naturally intrigued. He says, "This is a gift for you." So I opened the box, and inside I saw this. Now, my immediate reaction was, oh, that's a remote control, because I've seen remote controls like this before, quite weighty, and I thought, oh, I don't know if you can hear that. I thought there must be something wrong with it. It's got a rattle, and I thought maybe Fergus had given it to me so we can get it repaired. However, when I actually got into it, lo and behold, we have a Stanley 99E box cutter. Now, if you've watched our videos, you will know that the Stanley 99E has been the go-to box cutter for our videos literally since day one, and that's going back quite a number of years. Our old 99E met with an unfortunate accident, which I won't go into, but let's just say the police were involved, and in fact, as I understand correctly, Davey spent a significant amount of time polishing the casework of this 99E, and it just looks amazing. I must admit, it really took me by surprise. I didn't expect it, and it is now going to become our official Davey, Ian, Fergus sponsored 99 So if you're watching, guys, thank you very much indeed. That was a really nice and unexpected surprise. I did not anticipate that would be there for me. I'll just carefully put it over here so we know it's quite safe and nothing can happen to it. Okay, to the event itself. So the format was a shootout format. We would line up a number of streamers. We would call them Streamer A, Streamer B, and Streamer C. And we would play the same tracks on each. Normally it was 2 tracks per round. So we'd play track A on A, B, and C. Then we would play track 2 on C, B, and A, reversing the order. And those present had to vote on what they thought was the best sound for them. So let me get right into the results as they happened on the Saturday. So in round 1, we had the Blue Sound Node versus the Eversolo DMP A6 and the SOTM SMS 200 Mini Neo. Now, I want to first of all thank my team who put in the most exceptional amount of effort. Firstly, in the days leading up to the event, I know Andrew and Barry were still in our showroom at 8 p.m. on Friday night, getting everything fine-tuned. Rob Hunt from Rel came up on the Friday and spent hours fine-tuning the 6-stack S812 subarray that we had as part of our showroom event. And of course, Corey Hall from Pulse Cinemas, who was here representing Paradigm, and Niall Hunt from Ineos, who had come all the way from Cambridge to support us for our event. So guys, thank you so much, it is really appreciated. So straight off, it was quite surprising because I think what we did start to notice that the voting tended to come in almost groups of similar preferences. So a lot of people on the right hand side were voting, say for example, Streamer A, then on the left they were Streamer B, and the back were Streamer C. And it makes me think that depending on where you were sitting may have had a direct impact on what you thought was best. But the one thing's very clear before we get into the results themselves is that all of these streamers were good. There was not a single streamer didn't get a vote, meaning that for each and every one of you, there is out there a streamer that will meet your personal preferences as far as sound is concerned. And that's the beauty of HiFi. Anyway, it was a bit of fun. So here we go. First round, the winner was the Eversolo DMP A6, followed by the SOTM, and the Blue Sound Node came third. But all had votes, and it certainly wasn't a landslide victory by any means. It was actually quite close. Then we got into round 2, and we upped the ante. So we had the Master Edition DMP A6 from Eversolo, the Volumio Revo Plus model, and the Electro Compagnie Arena S2, which is a brand new streamer just been launched by Electro Compagnie, retailing about £1,000. I'll put all the retail prices of these on screen so you can see precisely what the price differentials were from one model to the other, and that way you can see just if the most expensive was actually bringing the best results. And perhaps a more emphatic victory in this round, the Electro Compagnie Rena S2 took 50% of the overall available vote. So that was quite a big victory, with the other 50% being shared by the other 2 devices. And if Lasse Danielson from Electro Compagnie is watching this video, I'm sure you will have a nice smile on your face, Lasse, knowing that your brand new Rena S2 actually won that round against some pretty stiff opposition. I've got to say, Electro Compagnie also have their own dedicated app that is very easy to use. And also we used, wherever possible, the manufacturer's own app. From our listening experience and testing, generally that will bring the best sound overall, rather than using something like Roon, for example. Okay, now this next round was quite a surprise, I have to say, for all of us, including those present. So First up, we had the very much talked about everywhere. In fact, just everywhere you look recently, you're seeing something about the Eversolo DMP A8. There is an American YouTuber that has a video out just now. I think it's been watched more times than I care to mention, where he says it beats a £10,000 preamplifier and has subsequently generated an incredible amount of reviews by making such a claim. So that was in there, and based on what we have read, you would think this would be one of the front contenders. We also had the HiFi Rose RS250A and the Audiolab 9000N, open brackets, lumen inside, close brackets, but I didn't say that, obviously. Again, we had a clear winner in this round, and that was, surprisingly, the HiFi Rose RS250A. Now, it is about £500, £400 or £500 more expensive than the Eversolo. However, based on reviews and client feedback, we would have thought the Eversolo would have been the clear winner. In fact, it actually came third. Now remember, this is a blind test, so nobody had any idea what they were listening to. I think it's fascinating, the process, because once we announced what was which, so streamer A was this, streamer B was this, and so on, there were quite a few surprised faces in the audience of those that had then realised what they'd voted for. But the results are the results. We had no influence in any of these, and each device had the same opportunity to win through. Now, in situations where devices didn't have their own DAC, again, I'll put the pairing up on screen. It was either going to be the Eversolo DAC Z8 and trying to keep all the prices similar, thus showing that for an equivalent price with separates, you can then pitch it against an all-in-one device that had perhaps a DAC built in, like the Eversolo, HiFi Rose, and so on. What's interesting is in that round in particular, all the devices have their own DAC built in, so there is certainly no advantage or disadvantage given by the use of an external DAC in that particular round. So that was quite a surprise. We then moved on in the afternoon, so we had a lunch break, and also in the morning, Andrew, our sales manager, or Dr. Forsyth, as he is known in some countries, where he's allowed to practice and not being struck off, did the valve rolling, which again was fascinating, where we took the stock valves of the V70 SE that we used for our main amplification, along with the Paradigm Persona 3Fs, which were our main loudspeaker setup, and we took the stock 6550 valves and replaced them with Gold Lion, not Golden Line, as I kept repeating the other week over and over and over and over, until eventually the penny dropped when I looked at a box and realised that we were in fact Gold Line, not Golden Line. The Golden Line actually is a pub and restaurant in Arbroath, which is maybe where I got that from. Funny how your mind works. So anyway, what we showed when we did this valve rolling was that the KT88s, the Gold Lions, actually gave a bigger, more expansive sound than the stock 6550 valves. Now, they are a £400 cost, but you could easily argue that is money well spent if it gives you a much bigger expansive sound, better bass control. Everything was bigger and better with those KT88s. Anyway, moving back to the testing, so we then got into the more expensive realm, and the next round there was two contenders, the Ineos Pulse, the new model, and the SOTM SMS 200 Ultra Neo SE with master clock and SPS 500. Both of those we ran into the Aqua La Scala, and this was then a directly fair comparison. Both had the same DAC, so no advantage given either way. Interestingly, and the only time this happened on the day, it was a dead heat. So each received exactly 50% of the available votes. And again, what's interesting, one thing to point out, when we were discussing afterwards with those of you that were here, and I asked, Did you find that, was it a clear winner for you? Was it very difficult to decide? And many of you stated that it really came down at the end of the day to one or another, and you found it hard to pick, so you had to pick one. Now, if you imagine that actually as a tipping point, very easily the result could end up being either a draw, as we had in this case, or just one person who thought, well, I have to pick one, so I will pick streamer A, for example, could have then handed the result to the INEOS or indeed to the SOTM. And again, it just highlights how good all these devices actually are. They are all exceptionally good. There is no bad device in this test at all. And remember, listening is a very subjective experience. What you like to hear is different for you and me and so on. And quite often when we as a team were standing watching the testing and people voting, I would say I would have picked streamer B, for example, and that may not have been the one that won, but for me personally, that was what I thought was best. Okay, so we then moved on to the next level up, and we had the INEOS Pulsar going into the La Scala, and the Luxman brand new NT07, which I featured a few weeks ago, also going into the La Scala. The INEOS was USB, and we did the Luxman on SPDIF, both using the same quality of cabling, so again, no advantage or disadvantage given to either device. So, this time round, the Luxman was the winner, gaining 64% of the vote and 40% roughly of the remaining vote going to the INEOS. But again, they were very closely matched, and coming back to my previous statement of where people, and a lot of people said, I really liked them both. I liked this on this track and this one on that track, but I had to pick one, so I just picked this one because I think it was on that track, it was the one that I preferred. So that result could easily have been flipped on its head, actually, as it happens. So we then came to the ultimate shootout, and that was the brand new XACT XACT, which I think I mentioned in last week's video. If you've watched Terry Ellis's review, he rates this as one of the best streamers that he has ever tested. It's the first streamer ever to have a fully linear motherboard. And again, it's worth going on to XACT's website to read more about this, and you'll understand the technology. I would say the XACT was slightly disadvantaged here because we literally got it the day before. We had some courier issues getting it here, and at one point it looked like it might not even be here in time. That's not XACT's fault by any stretch. In fact, they moved, the mountains and heaven and earth to get it here on time. And thank you, Marcin, for ensuring that we did get it on time. That's really appreciated. So it had minimal use, and we put this up against the brand new INEOS Statement Next Gen, which was the latest model again, and both of those were fed into the La Scala. Now, we had to use USB in both, so thanks to Barry and his poor sore knees, he had to kneel behind the rack and literally hot swap the USB connections that allowed us to do that. And this was one of the closest results of all. There was literally one vote in it. And the winner was the INEOS Statement. It won by a single vote. And again, the same thing applied. There was many said that they much preferred the XACT and it wasn't a close thing for them. Others said they much preferred the Statement and it wasn't a close thing for them too. What perhaps would have been interesting if we'd managed to get some burn-in on the XACT, if that result would have been exactly the same. But, you know, these were the results and that was the outcome. It was just brilliant. It was really good. And as I said, they're all great. If you look at the price differential between the INEOS and the XACT, there's about an £8,000 or £9,000 price difference. So the XACT performing up to that level says a lot about what it is. XACT have also got their brand new Evo model that has just come out, which they launched at Munich, and that's about £4,000 more. We will be getting one of these for testing, and I can't wait to hear that. It should be a great experience. What can I say? It was a brilliant day. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope those of you that attended felt that it was worth your time, that you enjoyed the format. And if any of you that were there are watching this, please give me your comments below. I'd love to get your feedback to see if there's anything that you would have changed about the format that we did, and perhaps we can then consider that for next year. If any of you have got an idea for a showroom event that we can do, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your ideas might be. We're very open to doing things that you guys find stimulating and interesting enough to come along and see what it is. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. As ever in our weekly video, I have a small favour to ask. If you've enjoyed this video or any of our past videos, please just take a few seconds to like the video and subscribe to our channel. I can't tell you how much that means to us as a small business. I know that the team we have here really do check every single week to how many new likes we've got and how many new subscriptions that we have to our video channel. It really does matter that much to us. We really care that we're providing you content that you find interesting, and watchable is the right term that I would use. So there we go. This week's video in a nutshell. The pizzas were great. Meeting everybody that turned up was absolutely fantastic, and I enjoyed talking to each and every one of you. Thanks again to the Three Amigos, Davey, Ian and Fergus, for the beautifully polished Stanley 99E. As I said, that will now feature in all our unboxing videos from here on in. Again, thank you to my team for the hard work that they put in. But thank you to you for making it such a great day and for coming along and supporting us as a business. It really means a lot, and we'll certainly look forward to welcoming you all again at our next event. So there we go, this week's video. As ever, please have a great week listening to music, and until the next one, please take care.